learn more about that work from you, Dr. Haskins. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for inviting me.
Of course. So for those who don't know, what is City Ministries? What do you all do? What's your core mission?
City Ministries is a social service nonprofit that was started by a local church over in Kirkland a long time ago, over 25 years. And so we have a foster care program. So we run a child placement agency. We have a preschool kindergarten and are expanding to actually elementary this coming fall. And we also built 22 homes and a community center for families that want to do foster care. So that's just a nutshell. Yes.
So that's great work, like I mentioned, but why? Why is that a necessity and so important right now? Obviously, May is Foster Care Awareness Month, and we want to put a spotlight on how the community can better support children and youth in the system. Talk about like the why.
Yes, the reason we got into it was because on a Christmas Eve night, we were having a service, and our pastors got really emotional about the fact that there's kids out there that need care, families that need help. And in America, we don't have orphans per se. You know, they're orphans because their parents aren't able to take care of them, not because they actually passed away. And so we wanted to get involved in supporting families and children. So that's our big why. And so all of the programs that we do are in that vein. And so especially with the foster care program, which we're emphasizing this month because it's Foster Care Awareness Month, the biggest need there is for more homes, more people that want to do foster care and support families. And you think, well, gosh, you know, when is this problem ever going to be resolved? I think there'll always be people that need help, but we're still in a crisis here in this country with families and, you know, and children that need places to be. And so I would encourage people, if they want to help, to, you know, contact us, contact other agencies. They can contact the state about becoming a foster parent. Also, another big need is for organizations like ours is, of course, the funding of this work, because it's the only work that we do that doesn't fund itself, because it's a service, because you're ministering to people, you're helping people in need, so that doesn't generate income. So it's the community that comes around organizations like mine and supports financially, supports in volunteering, and in becoming foster parents.
Thank you for highlighting the needs and challenges. I mean, yeah, you're right. This is work that comes from within. You know, you're doing it out of the kindness of your heart. You mentioned housing being a challenge and families being available to foster children, to pitch in. For people at home who may have considered taking in a child or helping out in that way, becoming a foster parent, but maybe have been hesitant, like what would be your message to them? I
would say, don't hesitate. If you're working with, especially a private agency, since that's what we do, we have support for our families. We train our families, and I think people wonder, you know, how intrusive is this going to be? You know, how involved is the state going to be, or whoever, right? And they are involved. It'll be probably the most intrusive process you ever go through to get licensed, just to be honest. But that's why a private agency is great, because we walk alongside you. We mitigate that as much as possible, and we do the certification. So the state basically just says, okay, you want this family to be licensed? Well, okay, we'll look over what you did. Okay, that looks great. We'll license them. That's kind of how it works with a private agency. So we do everything we can to support our families, but once you overcome that hurdle, then I think that there's just so much joy that comes from that in helping people and watching these little ones become healthier and happier while their families are, you know, doing what they need to do.
You can help change a child's life.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So you mentioned funding, and I know you all have some fun celebrations coming up, your annual auction on May 1st. Can you share more about that event and what people can expect?
Yes, we do our annual event on May 1st because I love May Day, and I think it's a great way to celebrate spring, but also we like to recognize the families that are doing foster care. We recognize our donors, we recognize our team, and it's a chance to see the community that surrounds City Ministries and become a part of it. And this year, we're doing an online auction, silent auction, and we have some really cool stuff that will be going online a week before the event. But we'd love it if you come to the event, if you can, and I'm sure the website's on this show, so you'll be able to see where you can go and get more information. And if you can't come, we encourage you to make a donation as well. But just to give you a clue, we're Seattleites here, so there will be a Seattle Seahawks basket.
Oh.
So I'm just saying, and there will be a WSU basket.
Okay, for the Cougs out there.
And unfortunately, a University of Washington basket.
I'm sure Steve loves to hear that as a proud WSU Coug.
Go Cougs.
I love the fact that you're incorporating some fun into this. I mean, it really does give people incentive to help out if they needed any.
Yes.
You mentioned way back when City Ministries began, you know, with a simple conversation in church, conversation with the congregation. So how do you all kind of incorporate faith-based approaches into your services? How does that kind of tie in?
How it primarily ties in is by operating by a spirit of excellence.
Okay.
And also in all of our documents that we had to get licensed through the state, our operational plan, everything is there and it's all written down. So when we were licensed, the state knew we were faith-based, so there's never any question in how we operate. And I would like to say that, no, we're not evangelistic organization in the sense of how we work with people, but we do love and care, and we are good partners to all of our partners. And so it's more faith without works is dead. So we are showing through our actions why we're motivated, how we're motivated, and building great relationships and partnerships to do this work.
Absolutely fabulous. And I don't know if we can throw the information for the auction up on our screens again. That's happening on May 1st at 6 p.m. and it'll be emceed by Jay Martin Jr., who's obviously a fun and friendly face to the show here. Dr. Haskins, anything you want to add? Anything else people should know about City Ministries and the work you all are doing and the kids you all support? Yeah,
I would just encourage you to not buy into the myths about children that are in foster care, that you would recognize that a lot of the families, over 75% of the kids that come into care are due to neglect, not abuse, okay? And so families go through things because of poverty, because of, loss of jobs and, substance problems and all those things, and that's life that happens to people. And so don't, stereotype, just, if you can help in any way that you can, because families need to be reconciled and healthier.
That's a really good point. The statistics can really open up your eyes to the issues here. Thank you so much for coming on the show and sharing all that information with us. Steve, how about that auction? Are you going to go for the WSU basket?
I mean, I heard about that. I was like, oh, okay, go Cougs.
He said go Cougs, yes. And an unfortunate nod to the UW basket. But somebody will get it.
Somebody's going to pick that up.
Someone
no problem.
will pick it up, yeah.
Go Dogs too, I guess. All right, to learn more about City Ministries and their upcoming fundraiser on May 1st, we made it easy for you. Go ahead and scan that QR code in the corner of your screen. That will take you directly to komonews.com/hotlinks. From there, you'll find a link to the event website.